If you were to put a list of potential meanings for the 12 archetypes known as the zodiac signs, you would get a book that would literally break your hand. I'm about to show y'all how pick me is under the list of Virgo within her own etymology as the Virgin. Virgo's key word is optimization. In this journey to growth, efficiency, Virgo is known to dissect itself, critique, and judge other people, just as much as it judges itself. However, it maintains this down to earth, chill girl persona that in this society both enforces the patriarchal system and defies it, just like a pick-me. In fact, the performance of defying it is how pick-me's today gain approval from men. As we'll see, they are not defying men or gender norms, rather selling out their integrity and solidarity between marginalized genders. Friendships between marginalized genders, mages, are already laced with the complexities of internalized patriarchal and self-hating behaviors, reproduced and enforced by the media, so friendship should be a safe space. With that being said, being a girl's girl doesn't mean you have to be in a sorority or be blonde, white, thin girl. You don't even have to fully identify as a girl. To me, this term implies a solidarity and value-based choices in the politicized landscape of relating to people, mainly choosing not to put cis men on pedestals, whether it's a love interest or your friend, or as some pick-me's who like mix these together would say, that's my brother, oh my god.
It's so heavy, you're lifting, you have to help me. No, I really can't help, so we need to go push-ups somewhere. Help me, I'm gonna chase you around the gym. Help me, I'm in the gym. Oh my god, Emily, chill. He's literally like a brother to me. That's how siblings fight. Girls gonna have guy friends, you know? Help me.
As I pay attention to pop culture a lot, lately headlines have been revealing the worst, most scathing insult of the times to be not a girl's girl. I mean that exact quote. In fact, this scathing insult was all Ethan Slater's wife could say to the press about Ariana Grande, Arianka, after it was revealed that her recent husband and father of her newborn baby had been cheating on her with Ariana Grande before leaving them. The Kardashians being accused of this behavior towards Selena Gomez. It's clear that the collective is waking up to the fact that being nice to fellow girls is right on. Like that's cool. But what does this have to do with Virgo? Is it because Virgo can be so mean? Well, no. It's because of its relationship to normalness and being different. Virgo is a queen. In my own astrology, she is my Virgo Venus, seen in Western astrology as in detriment by planetary dignity in fall, to be exact. In my indigenous cosmology, she is corn goddess, she is Tonantzin, Guadalupe, Virgen Maria, and Mary Jane herself. A different topic for another day, but she is we to me. In astrology, it is a fact that Virgo is about the harvest, and with that, the grueling labor that comes with separating the wheat from the chaff. The agricultural roots of Virgo take strong levels of patience, keen eye to detail, and countless revisions that, no matter how unnecessary they may seem, its nature, by its element, which is earth, and modality, which is mutable, is just a fact of life and Pachamama. Like, earth moves slowly, but it does change. A story I tell everyone of my clients with a Virgo related inquiry is about the strong dangers of losing its own integrity. That to me is a defining moment of when someone becomes a pick-me, among other harmful things. The story goes, there was a carpenter who had a vision for a chair. It had a curve on top and an abstract yet straightforward design. This carpenter was confident in their skills, so they started to get to work in carving out pieces of wood and hammering it together. Once constructed, they began to sand it. The curves, the smoothness of the wood, and pointy details of the backing became smoother and sharper, and so they went on, slowly disintegrating until it snapped in two parts. Mercury and its magic tricks open doors, but they don't always close them for you. You have to choose to do that. And Mercury does lend itself to Virgo in obsessive ways. Hyper focusing on perfection will lend people to self-harm. No matter where or what you have Virgo in your birth chart, knowing when to stop and having boundaries, as much as Mercury likes to break them, is necessary for life itself. Marianismo is a Spanish academic word that I learned post-pandemic. It is a complement to machismo, a Latin Spanish version of the patriarchy. Marianismo isn't misogyny outright, but it is self-sacrifice in service of it. The Google definition goes, Marianismo emphasizes the role of women as family and home-centered. It encourages passivity, self-sacrifice, and chastity. A Marianista orientation depicts women in nurturing roles and prescribes respect for patriarchal values. This is what makes me go, my precious Virgin Maria and Virgo. The Virgo-Pisces axis, meaning the Virgo and Pisces, Virgo and Pisces, they're opposite, right? Like, they're complements, they're sister signs. So that's what I mean by axis, right? It's like the axis, the x-axis, the y, whatever. The Virgo and Pisces axis is one about service and mysteries. Pisces is about Jesus being reborn during Easter in Pisces season. But I believe Virgo is about his mother. In this world, there are mythical representations of martyrdom and serving a higher cause are distorted to serve a different kind of myth. It is the myth of happy, one-sided servitude, aka misogyny and racism. The two signs are immutable. One earth, one water. And these are both deemed feminine by modern Western astrology because they create life. At the end of the day, these create life, and that in our Western point of view is seen as feminine. Pisces serves ideals rooted in an abstract blend of the senses and intuition, while Virgo serves ideals rooted in cold, hard realities, hard evidence. While both are considered fracasados, or wrecked in Spanish, tortured by passion, mysteries, and making sense of things, Pisces travels dimensions going off the deep end thanks to Jupiter, or more likely Neptune, while Virgo also goes extremely off the deep end by stringing together facts into shadowy, messy webs and conspiracies thanks to Mercury. Of the two, it is the writer. When faced with Jupiterian, Pisces, and Sagittarius, it judges them, inherently feeling all the labor and work it takes to make their big dreams and visions a reality. While Gemini and Virgo can relate as mercurial signs, Gemini can make Virgo feel both like a normie and out of place entirely. And what does it want? To be different or to be normal? To fit in or stand out? I don't have that answer. I can't be so brave as to speak for an entire constellation. My Virgo Venus taught me to embrace being different, to be grunge, to be a hermit writer. It worked with my Capricorn Mars to defy authority, to bring some astrocartography in the mix. Being born and raised on my Venus descendant line, it made me so lonely, so wanting of love and to be loved, regardless of who I was with or not with. To be seen in the crowd. How did the phenomena of wanting to be picked affect me? And is it so wrong to want to be a flower picked by a loving hand? An experience that comes to mind is being a side chick. My Virgo Venus, planet of love, was in his 12th house. The 12th house is the sign before your rising sign. So it's known for being a place of your subconscious, obsessions, and just all that comes with it, addiction. I got lost in this relationship for like 6 months. Once he made it clear, though, that he picked her, I took a one-way flight to New York City. I listened to songs that translated my emotions. So SZA's CTRL had just come out. As much as songs like The Weeknd and other songs really hit, Normal Girl was always a skip. It's not even that I hate on normalness or I can't relate to being different. This song always rubbed me the wrong way. Even in my most pick-me phase, I couldn't get the competitive, comparing, yet also self-deprecating views on other girls. Like, what even is a normal girl? Like, what? And why would I want to be one? The pick-me prides itself on being not like the other girls, as separate, as other. This is where the alleged defiance of the patriarchy comes in. The tomboyishness, the plainness, the not traditionally attention seeking. She wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts. She's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers. Yas, white feminist queen. Yas. This tries to be aware that gender is a performance by performing a subversion of it. On the traditional sense, pick-me's perform hyper-femininity, as we see with these feminine coaches who teach women how to get picked by rich millionaires. They defy feminism and 9-to-5s by performing chastity, marianismo. Yet, this alleged defiance of patriarchy, gender roles, the matrix, I'm not really sure what these feminine coaches are defying, ends when a second, more literal separation comes in. The being picked by a man, leaving other girls single, depressed, however they see it, unpure, hoes, whether they perform anti-femininity or hyper-femininity. The pick-me is performing purity, virginity, as otherness from their gendered counterparts. The endless preparation beforehand for being picked is what's interesting and where harm comes, because as Virgos, basic themes are earth and virginity, and losing it is what's known as being deflowered. We know the patriarchy mirrors and works in tandem with harm against the environment. And as much as I like to consensually pick flower bouquets from my white neighbor's gardens, it's true that if you love a flower, you should let that shit go. Floral arrangements are a very Virgo art. They have a skill for selection, mixing, and careful attention to detail that flowers need. Following this pick-me metaphor for flowers, like, first of all, imagine a flower that wants to be picked so bad. It's unnatural. I can't imagine a flower wanting to be separated from the sun, minerals, its friends, to die a slow death in a vase. While as a Virgo Venus myself, I can absolutely imagine picking flowers that aren't traditionally beautiful. I can't imagine a flower dulling its own colors, drooping away from the sun, choosing to be a wallflower in order to get picked by an intellectual who can appreciate those rare things, like me. Flower arrangements are a Virgo art. While in the metaphor above, I had the Virgo pick-me as a flower, Virgo itself is often touted as a very selective and the la piqui of the signs. But unless this person has strong Leo placements or an August Virgo, the standards themselves are honestly on the floor. And that's okay. Our earthy baby is fine sitting on a bamboo mat on the floor. It's probably better for the spine, looking so good in those neutral tones. Virgo sleeps and dreams of someone who has a funny snort, ashes their spliff with the cadence of a relaxed cartoon symphony conductor, and looks great in black. Charlie, from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who I've always seen as a Virgo, sees no girl but the waitress, a recovering alcoholic. He's also her stalker and more lovable member of the main characters, where they're all horrible, horrible people. What can I say? Men are broken. But even Charlie holds a purity from the rest of the cast, as his illiteracy and naivety have him being the one led by his heart usually. Men are broken. And Virgo is, generally speaking, attracted to what's broken, to what can be fixed. Because, using the metaphor of the carpenter in his chair, there is no way to lose what's already been broken. It's been lost, now it can be found, now it can be redeemed. Hence the strong demand for fixer-upper boyfriends, might I add. Virgo is creative. Virgo is earth, and mutable at that. Its correlation to medicine comes from this ancestral urge to adapt. Who heals the healer? Virgo has nervous tendencies and can lend itself to distractions from its own healing. When even self-care and healing lend itself to capitalism and consumerism and endless, constant self-optimization, Virgo picks themselves apart so much that their form of escapism is other people's problem, playing some kind of healer, savior, or goddess, or in film, whatever that version of the male gaze requires. One of the parts Virgo plays in film is the girl next door. There is a charm that she has, and this fantasy, as this axis, Pisces Virgo rule fantasy, is she's always available. She is simple but pretty and down to earth. Ordinary yet extraordinary. She's so fucking familiar, always leaving clues to the mundane puzzle that is her existence. Why does she always blow her hair by the window? Amelie, I'd say, is more of the Virgo manic pixie dream girl than any other sign. Amelie is smart, quirky. She holds rustic childhood treasures in the palm of her hand. She has natural beauty. She doesn't need makeup or help from a man. Quite the contrary. He needs her. I mean, watch this trailer.
This is Amelie. With the discovery of a simple childhood treasure, she begins a quest to fix other people's lives. And perhaps her own as well.
Being a pick-me is service in favor of your own self-destruction. Being a pick-me, I'm going to run that back. Being a pick-me is a service in favor of your own self-destruction. We've established how it serves misogyny and marianismo. It is always in service of a fantasy, of a lie. One of the main lies being that femininity is lesser than masculinity. Whether this manifests as a traditional pick-me or modern pick-me's who've evolved to uphold this lie by not being traditionally feminine, therefore upholding gender violence without reaping any of its benefits. Like Virgo, the pick-me gets used and disposed of, forgotten. Utility is actually a theme for Virgo. And unfortunately, Virgos in this world either use, get used, or both. Very traditional ways of using people replicate themselves in queer spaces today. There's a ton of these dynamics that replicate themselves in LGBT spaces. There is no lack of LGBT people either internalizing or replicating misogyny and misogynoir to be picked by tops or trade in gay spaces. But Speaking of traditions and marianismo, the Virgin Mary's own virginity, the Virgin Mary's own virginity is a fantasy. Through retellings and an ancient game of telephone, Mercury, the mother, the myth, the legend of her virginity, that doesn't pretend to defy anything but nature itself, is one that is used to harm women today. That is just a fact. Her motherhood betrays nature. Virginity and asexuality is something that I personally honor with people in my life, but the church only seeks to extract from her virginity. I didn't grow up with the church, but in connecting to my ancestors and my santos, I learned some prayers and I started reading them. I couldn't even bring myself to read our Holy Mother's oraciones. They were all about her fruit, her devotion, her labor, and what it could provide to Jesus and God and the men who serve them. Like femininity, sex, creation, and Earth's raw abundance and diversity all stand against everything the colonizer does as he creates unnatural systems while labeling us as abnormal, impure, wrong. And pick-me's love virginity. They love it. They love this shit. They eat this shit up. I liked some of the Lana songs, but that bitch is a fucking pick-me. I don't give a fuck. She fits the fucking description. And not only that, but a lot of your favorite rapper bitches do too, when they're like, oh, my shit tight. My shit like a fucking virgin. It gets real creepy.
My small breast and my little frame and my sweet little girl voice, it exudes something in people that is extremely passionate and tantalizing. And I swear to God, all your men fantasize about me and probably wonder what it's like to be with someone who is as small as I am.
The obsession with virginity is really creepy. With the traditional pick-me's, I don't need to even like discuss how they do that, but what about the modern pick-me? The one that defies gender norms. Well, she performs a virginity of a different kind, and that is one that labels girls whores, putas, and unholy for wearing makeup, for being traditionally attention seeking, for participating in hookup culture, for getting their nails done, hanging out with only guys, and being the friend, as being the one who doesn't have feelings for the guy, but as being the loyal, devout, nun-like friend. They perform some version of virginity or purity from the whore-like femininity. But that's wrong, because this over-sexualization is colonization. The real pick-me myth is one of perfection, which doesn't exist. Because it demands that of itself even, these can lend to projections on others. The pick-me plays comparison games with their friends for their male entertainment, like Ariana did. To play that game is to betray oneself in the name of purity and innocence. An image of hers that was destroyed with this pick-me scandal. Virgo feels to be loved, it needs to be perfect, or as Amelie, perfectly imperfect, in order to be chosen. And what a great honor it is to be chosen. But most people don't deserve or even want to be loved in a Virgo way. Virgo needs to embrace its sidereal Leo placements and love themselves. Tropical Virgo and sidereal Leo is giving I want a Sunday kind of love. And not everyone deserves this kind of love. As a Virgo Venus, planet of love, I will tell you, Virgo needs to know, A, who they want to be picked by and why. And no, their little quirks does not count. This is where we kind of need to think bigger. And B, learn from Pisces that there is no competition. Being picked does not always imply that there were other contenders that were being written down in lists and simulated via extremely dramatic inner monologue debates like Virgo does overthinking their grocery list. Other girls are not the chafe just because you are the precious golden wheat. Virgo thinks because it picks separates and places everything in its right place rather than accept and fuse like Pisces does, that its own self is part of this machine. It works so tirelessly to provide to the ones it loves. It sees grain mills in its sleep, its self-destruction a pleasant thought. The earth element is a hard one to embody. Harder yet as a mutable sign. Sorry, Taurus, you've got it easier. You can sit down and relax, especially in post-industrial times that seeks to take nature from itself in the name of order over organic chaos. We do live in a sick world, and the control that comes with self-destruction is a very real need in a world that wants to destruct you for you. But that its self-destruction is part of nature is only half truth. Like sacred maize, Virgo is careless cultivation, timeless, classic. Virgo deserves to be loved as much as it loves on others. There is reciprocity in earth, in nature. Virgo is basic. It is hearty, nutritional, a treasure, just what I needed right now. Perfect, not in essence, but in time. And that's love. I am a Virgo Venus. So in love, I feel Virgo has most power for creation and destruction. And maybe this is why it's in fall in Western astrology, who I'm the biggest fan of, as y'all know. As for the pick me thing, I don't give a fuck if you want to be picked. I also don't give a fuck if you pick men, women, or neither. Just as long as you never pick cis male approval over your homies, homegirls, home gays. Bye, gays!